In the summer of the year 2000, Iji-san, a senior at Ewha Womans University, was caught in a horrific 6-car collision triggered by a drunk driver that left her with third-degree burns on half her body. She endured dozens of surgeries and related therapies, not to mention the excruciating physical and psychological challenges of a plight as a burn survivor, to emerge more compassionate and more committed to the cause of those undergoing various challenges of life. So what was the motivation behind her story of survival? How does she assess career social welfare for the disabled? And what is her advice to those undergoing personal challenges? Welcome to Issues and Insiders. Today I have a very special guest who joins me in the studio to share her thoughts on public perception of the disabled in Korea as April 20th marks Disabled Persons Day here in the country. For more, I have Professor Iji-san from Ewha Womans University with me here in the studio. Professor Lee, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. Right, Professor Lee, you're back at your alma mater some 23 years after a traffic accident, of course, that changed your life to say the least. How do you feel?
I am very thrilled and grateful because I met the accident at my age of 23 and I returned the campus as a professor after 23 years. So I'm very grateful. It feels like destiny, and also I feel like I am exactly where I should be right now. So.
And of course, our words of congratulations as well.
Thank you.
Professor Yi, before we advance any further, could you tell us a bit about the course description of the Social Welfare Department where you're at?
Okay, so Social Welfare at Ewha University is Korea's first Department of Social Welfare, and established in 1947. And social welfare is a practical study to focuses on the happiness and well-being of all human beings. So to achieve that, we research the intervention method to enhance the better quality of life and enhance the happiness and well-being in a macro level and a micro level as well. So
right,
I teach this semester. For this semester, I teach the class, the title, the social welfare with persons with disabilities right now.
Right, I see. Professor, aside from your academic obligations, you've also actively been interacting with the broader public by partaking in interviews and, of course, hosting lectures outside of the university campus. Is there a special reason behind your effort to reach out to people?
Because I lived as an author before becoming a professor, so that's why I had many opportunities to reach out the public. So I think the reason I began to write and to reach out to others and to communicate is because I wanted to take a certain misunderstanding and change them to understanding. So after meeting my accident, suffering burn injury and becoming a person with disability, and I started to live a life I had never imagined of. So, but why I looked like my life was filled with the whole despair on the outside, but ironically, I felt more frequent happiness and deeper gratitude. So I didn't appreciate people's staring at me, the pitying looks, and they made me the looks. The pitying looks made me very uncomfortable. So I wanted to help people to understand. So I want to share my story of how I started to cherish my life and even more, I think.
Right, and Professor Lee, staying with your efforts to share your stories, on a TV talk show last month, you spoke about the problem with the Korean expression, 사고를 당하다, which essentially means that the individual had an unfortunate accident befalling upon him or her. It victimizes the individual, so to speak. And you chose instead to share the expression 사고를 만나다, which means to meet an accident, which is similar to the to the English expression, that is, to have met with an accident. Would you like to take this opportunity to share your thoughts with us?
Yes, like you said, in Korea, we usually use that expression 당했다. Then one day I felt like it's not how I wanted to describe what happened. So because whenever I said that 사고를 당했다, I realized that I was defining myself as a victim of the drunken driver's car accident. So, and ever since I changed the expression to having met the accident. So I believe that was when I began to part with it. So I was able to leave what happened in the past, and I began rewriting my own story.
Your second chapter of life.
Yes.
Could you tell me exactly how long it took you to understand that this accident was met? Because you talked about how you need to have a meeting in order for you to have a parting. How long did it take you to change your attitude?
It took about 2 years, I think. So I think I have some process to accept and confront the accident, what I lose and what I earned after a car accident. So I think it took 2 years.
About 2 years.
Yes.
Professor, what do you believe was the strongest motivation behind your own personal story of survival?
I think it is love. I think so. At times when I felt worthless and I could not love myself, I saw the eyes of the people who loved me. So they looked past my scars and saw me as a just daughter, sister, and friend that they always knew and loved. So I felt like that is true love. So that's the love gave me the strength to love myself again. So when it seemed like almost impossible at that times, but that's why the title of my first book is Jisun, I Love You, Jisun. Is that my first book's titles.
And this was a message to you?
Yes.
I see. Professor, you also successfully took part in 2 marathons.
Yes.
Could you tell us a bit about that experience? I mean,
Yes.
what was the decision to partake these marathons and how tough were they?
Yeah, it was very, very tough because I'm not a runner and I never worked out even right now. So no one thought that could make it to the finish line, but the miracle happened. Although it took 7 hours, 22 minutes and 26 seconds, but I want, I had, time to give up many times. But people in the street began to cheer me on, and I couldn't stop. So all I could was to take one more step each time. So because why I participated in that marathon was I ran the marathon to raise awareness of for building a children's rehabilitation hospital in Korea. So by the Prume Foundation. So I could do was just take one more step each time. So I'm very proud to say that the Korea's first children's rehabilitation hospital was built in Mapogu, Seoul-si right now. So thanks to everyone's tireless effort.
Including your own, your own.
Tiny.
So this was your first marathon?
Yes.
And your second marathon?
Yeah, the next year I ran another marathon. It's the last time, for the last time with the same reason, to raise awareness of the children's with disabilities need their good hospital for them. So,
right, of course.
Yes.
Did you take part in the marathon by yourself or with your friends?
Yes, yes, yes. My friends, some of my friends and cousins and my brother also participate in together for the second marathon. So
Right.
we together make it to the finish line within
That must have been a
6
great
hours.
feeling. 6 hours for the
Yeah.
second marathon,
Yes.
7 hours for the first one. There was an improvement.
Yes.
Did you train before the marathon, like run around Hangang or jogging?
Yeah. So for the second marathon, I did a little bit of
Training?
Training.
I see. Good to know.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Professor, do you believe that there's been perhaps a shift in public perception as well as social welfare for the disabled here in Korea over the course of 23 years?
Yes.
As in before your accident and perhaps now after your accident and your recovery?
Yes, a lot has changed, I think, because as a society, we experience more diversity right now. So I think the younger generation, at least, no longer stare at the people who look differently from themselves, or judge others' lives or express pity right now. I think so. I think general awareness and interest in social welfare has also increased right now.
I see. Professor, as a scholar, how do you assess Korea's social welfare policy, that is?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I want to be very cautious with my words, but just looking at disability policy, thanks to effort of many people in Korea, I believe we have most of laws and policy in place right now, but a lot of them are in name only, I think. So when we look close, we have so much more to do in order to enhance, truly achieve the well-being of the people with disability. So for example, the beneficiary coverage and the level of benefit and the budget also, are all far behind the OECD average right now in Korea.
I see. And staying with such a comparison, Professor, you've studied in the US for about a decade. And that being said, how do you compare the social welfare perhaps available in the US to that here in the country?
Yeah, so while social welfare in the U.S. Has also room for improvement, but historically speaking, the disability rights movement began in the 1960s. So, for example, the transportation right for people with disability, which is currently in Korea being protested right now. So that movement, the transportation right movement in U.S. Was made in a social issue in the 1970s. And the Urban Mass Transit Act, that legislation passed in 1978. So about 50 years ago. So making cities and city buses and subway accessible to all. So due to this long history, the public awareness and attitudes, which takes time to change, so has been significantly improved in the United States and has contributed greatly to what it's America like today, I think.
Which is why you headed over to the US to
Yes.
study this particular topic. What was your academic endeavor in the US like, Professor?
I feel very lucky to have studied in US, but it's also very challenging.
What were some of the challenges that you faced?
The most of all is language, and also the loneliness. I think it was very challenging for a long time. Living in other country by myself. So.
And how did you strive to overcome these challenges in the US, the feelings of loneliness as well as the language barrier?
Yeah, just like what I learned from marathon, by taking one step at a time and never give up.
Persevering.
Yes, so taking it a day at a time that led me my study to the finish line.
What can you tell us about the support from the professors? Do you believe the professors at your university, ever in the US, were very supportive of your academic endeavor?
Yeah, they. If I ask the support, extra support or extra extension for the assignment, you know, they were very generous to treat, equally actually. To equally and also to support with other accommodation as well.
Right, of course. Professor, earlier on you mentioned the subway protests that are taking place here in the country. They've been being staged by a disability rights group in the country since last year, urging for, of course, more effort to allow for greater access to public transport for the disabled in the country. Could you tell us a bit more about your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. The protester did not start out wanting to cause trouble or inconvenience others. So they were given no other choices. So because their voices have been ignored so long time. So they are not asking for much. I think their request is that they are given the right to, to use the public transportation, to go to work, go to school, to meet their friends, just like everyone else, right? So these are basic human rights that can be granted with a reasonable budget, I think. So this is an issue that can be solved, I think, when we remind ourselves that they are people first before they are disabled. It's not that one. Regardless disability, they are people, right?
They really are, of course.
Yeah,
and staying with that, Professor, what more can be done perhaps to enhance public understanding here in the country of the needs of the disabled?
Yes, we have to remember the Article 1 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that said all human beings are free and equal and should be treated the same way. So just like how my life matters, you have to remember other lives also matter just as much. So regardless their disability, age, or ethnicity, or gender.
Right, of course. Professor, on a personal level, what words of advice perhaps would you like to share with those who may be undergoing personal challenges, even right now as we speak?
Yeah, I think things become harder when we set the goal too far away, I think. So when you become overwhelmed and anxious with the questions like, how should I live? What is my life going to be like? So all I can do, and then all we should do, is live today to the fullest, I think. So and also I hope we can be kind to ourselves, and after having a long day, try complimenting yourself for just living that day fully, right? And then so create pretty good happy ending every day. So that's my second book's title, by the way. So the pretty good happy ending. So I hope that you can make and create every day, daily, pretty good happy ending, I think.
I see. Professor, you have a very optimistic outlook on life. And I wonder, is this optimistic outlook on life innate? Were you born with it, or do you believe that it was nurtured in the course of time?
I think both of them, I think. So, but before meeting the accident, I feel I was just,
Ordinary, normal?
The ordinary person. So, but
a balance of both pessimistic and optimistic thoughts.
Yes, but after that, my optimistic attitudes and that grew day by day, I think,
I see.
to survive.
Right.
Yes.
Professor, finally, what are some of your future plans? Because I had read during an interview that you did, I believe, recently, that you wanted to start a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, I want to enjoy my life with small things, new things. So I'm planning to grow my YouTube channel with exciting new things, and also it might seem like my life so far was filled with a very serious thing, but I always been easygoing person with the easygoing attitudes. So I plan to continue to do so and be happy with the smallest thing in my life and be easygoing. And also one more, my plan is I hope my research will help better the lives of people with disabilities, and so that they too can live a life filled with a daily pretty good happy ending in every day.
All right, well, you're already an inspiration for many people, I'm sure. Thank you so much for your time today, and best of luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
You're most welcome, Professor Yi. Well, let's end today with words by Professor Iji-san that she earlier shared on a local radio show, and I translate. Life is a tunnel, not a cave with light at the end. So do seek to persevere, as she said today, and to strive through your challenges, whatever they may be. Thank you for watching.